All right, what's up, y'all? So today, gonna talk to y'all about one of my favorite topics ever, whether you should use Swift or local payment rails for your FX delivery. It is probably one of the top um, questions, problems, uh, I don't even, questions, problems, pondering moments that people have throughout the day as they're trying to figure out what they should do. Most times, more than not, it's a neobanks, sometimes marketplaces. But anyways, Swift versus local, and how should you think about it? So to start off, does everyone know what a Swift payment is? It was pretty popular recently because the U.S. sanctioned Russia, said, "Hey, no more Swift access," and it made the news. And everyone's like, "What the fuck, Swift?" Well, I'm here to tell you what it is. So Swift was originally built as sort of a collaboration between different banks around the world in order to move money globally. Think about it like many, many years ago, you had like you had banks distributed all over the world, and like, how do they communicate with one another? Um, it was like through a phone call. Nabil probably remembers having to do that. Nabil's upstairs. No, he definitely doesn't remember having to do that. But along comes Swift. They standardize it. They create, more or less uh, messaging to go between banks, correspondent banks, to say, hey, funds are going to this bank. Do you have a relationship with them? Great. Can you send it on? Boom. There you have it. The Swift network is born. Fast forward many years later, and while Swift was extremely innovative for the time, you have a lot of people that are like, you know what, Swift is slow. Swift is expensive. These correspondent banking fees are so expensive. Um, and look, those are all valid points, especially, you know, few years ago. But Swift has done a hell of a job innovating since then. They've done some pretty cool things, but they're still in some of the harder to reach corridors, pretty slow because there's just fundamentally they don't have uh, uh, proper banking partners, correspondent rails, whatever there. Enter local payments. So I think Wise, formerly known as TransferWise, really put this on people's radars with their marketing, which is like the idea of a payment going out over a local payment rail. And so the way that Wise advertised it is they really introduced to the public the idea that's been known for quite some time of netting. And that is, let's say you're moving money between the US and Europe, and then you're also moving money between Europe and the US. Uh, if you have enough flows on each side, those flows counterbalance themselves, and you don't actually have to move money across borders. And so what ends up happening is if I am funding a US transfer, or sorry, if I'm funding a transfer that is starting in the US and going to Europe, the customer will send the funds to my Wise, settlement account in the US, and then Wise has a separate bank account in Europe connected into SEPA Instant, and they will instantly release those funds over SEPA Instant directly into your bank account. So it's a quick, fast payment. It's real time, or so it feels like it's real time. And that is what a local payment rail is. Uh, I'll go into a separate video. We have a blog up that talks actually how to build these types of real-time rails. Um, got Brad coming down the stairs right now. Hey, Brad. Uh, anyways, so yeah, so there you have it. You got Swift, you have local. Which one do you decide to use? What I tell people quite regularly is the answer lies within your customer base. So, who are your customers? Are you banking businesses that are doing larger transactions, trade financing, et cetera, you likely want to use Swift. Why? Swift is a world, it's say world renowned, obviously. It is a globally standard system that that produces a receipt called an MT103. Go to our blog. You can learn more about MT103s. What is an MT103? An MT103 is literally a receipt that is generated by Swift that says your money has been sent. How do you use an MT103? Let's say your payment is taking longer than expected for whatever reason. That MT103, if shown to the receiving bank, is as good as gold. A lot of times the receiving bank will even will release the payment just based off of that MT103 receipt. It's extremely important to have MT103s or some form of traceability, trackability, proof of payment, et cetera, in B2B payments because there is a high level of fraud. But on the other hand, Swift can take some time. It can take, sometimes it can be instant, but a lot of times you can expect 1 to 3 days for a Swift payment. Enter local payments. Why would you want to use local payments? Well, once again, look at your customer base. Maybe it's individuals. Maybe they are businesses, but maybe your average payment size is pretty small. Maybe you have really, really good fraud protection and you don't need to have MT103 receipts. Whatever it may be, whatever your reason may be, local payments is great. Why? Very, very fast real-time delivery. If that's something that you want to compete on, and you're willing to sacrifice having a proper receipt that's globally recognized via aka MT103, local payments are great. If you want to have lower fees, a lot of time local payments are great. Outside of speed and sometimes lower fees, I think that's probably it with local payments. I think it's personally I think the best way to do it is to actually offer your users both Swift and real time. And so that's one of the things that we've been building at Route Fusion is a multi-provider layer, and we've partnered with one of the best providers for real-time payments, Tunes, literally they are the best. And we have quite a few different Swift providers, whether it's Monex or Corpay or whoever. We have some really great Swift providers. And so now what you do is you present your users with the option of hey, do you want to get it there in real time? Use this, and this is the fee, this is whatever. And then you give them a disclaimer or whatever. I don't know. You figure out the user experience, or you offer Swift. I will say that more times than not, especially in B2B payments, if you have upmarket users, Swift is the way to go. It just makes sense. It's verifiable. It's just the way to go. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a soft spot for real-time local payments because they are so fast. The money arrives instantly. And there are ways to prove that it was sent. It just may not be globally recognized like Swift is. And so it can pose problems if the beneficiary claims they never received the funds, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, this was our bit. Should we use Swift payments or local rails? Really depends on your user base. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you later.
I'm your